Hey, this is Josh with New Review, coming at you with a new review of the most recent season or volume of Rooster Teeth's RWBY. So this last season was very interesting. We saw a lot of character growth, largely in Yang and uh, uh, Blake, who this season got a lot more focus than they did last season. Granted, Ruby still got got a significant amount of the attention because it's slightly named after her. Um, but I think the main focus this season was Blake and Yang as opposed to Ruby and Weiss last season. There was a bit of character growth with both of them last season, but I think the of their character growth this year, uh, bulk of their character growth happened this season. Um, for Yang, it was beginning to trust herself a little bit more, and to trust in her abilities outside of her semblance. Last season, Ty, her dad, told her that she relied extremely heavily on her semblance, which basically is a temper tantrum. Um, and we saw that in the first fight she had this season. Instead of just taking every hit head on like she usually does, she employed a little bit more strategic use of her combat abilities. She dodged, she kicked, she punched, which is her specialty. Um, uh, but yeah, she was a little better in her combat and in her growth because for a long time she really wanted to find her mother to kind of understand why. And now she's more concerned with making sure people who she knows who actually care are protected, i.e., Ruby. Um, and yeah, she's back with the team, as is the entire team. And Blake, she instead of trying to run from her past, she's now trying to confront it. Last season, she kind of was still focused on running away, um, but this season, after the kind of big finale last season, is more focused on became more focused on writing things that happened, that righting wrongs in essence by instead of, like I said, running away from her problems, actively trying to improve things. She tried to protect Haven, which they were successful in. And a big part of this was the big part of last season was Ruby getting to where she needed to be, which was Mistral and Haven Academy. Whereas this season, it was everyone trying to get to Haven, um, uh, which was important because Haven was the next target to get a relic, which was introduced last season. Um, so each of the four academies, Haven, Beacon, uh, Atlas, and Shade, each of those has a relic associated with a maiden. Um, and Salem, who controls the Grim, is trying to get the four relics to remake the world in her image or whatever. Um, and a long-standing fan theory was confirmed. Oz is the wizard who gave the maidens their powers. And another interesting part of the season was exploring the relationship that Oscar and Ozpin have, as well as this character of Oscar. We kind of got a little bit last season, but like I said, most of the focus was on Ruby and Weiss and their growth. Um, and they also, and for this season, for character growth and development, they threw in Oscar, and it was really interesting. He's not confident like the girls are. He's not well trained, kind of like Jean. Um, and he's scared because he doesn't know what's going on. Um, and all of this growth, this trying to fix things, this trying to make things better, led to a 4 episode confrontation at Haven Academy. Three? 3 episode. Um, so the Salem's acolytes and Ozpin's acolytes, they fought each other. It turned out that Leo, who was in charge of Haven Academy, who's inspired in part by the Cowardly Lion, had been working with Salem for years, and so they confronted him as well as Hazel, who apparently is only part of Salem's group to get revenge on Ozpin, because apparently he is Hansel if Gretel died, as confirmed by Miles and Carrie. Um, and it was a really interesting fight, especially with Salem and Raven, who is actually the Spring Maiden and not Vernal, who was a patsy, basically. Um, and it might be that Cinder is dead. It might not be. I don't know. It would be cool that Cinder only had the maiden powers for a little bit, and then when she died, her last thoughts were on Ruby, not being able to get revenge on her. And Jean actually tried to get revenge on Salem because Salem killed Pyrrha, and Jean actually, by the end of her life, figured out that he liked her. Um, and I think that this season is starting to build off of the more mature or darker tone that started a little bit at the end of Volume 3 and was like kicked to an 11 last season. And they're still building on the Bildungsroman style of storytelling, which is just like a growth of a coming of age of characters. And I really do enjoy how it's going so far. I'm looking forward to next season. They've already started doing Ruby Chibi to kind of fill the Ruby void. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to what comes next. This is Josh with New Review, signing off.